Where's Bass?
She didn't make it.
Wait, is it over in the
So my next question is, now that she's not here, can my 7 return to a 10?
Yeah, but if I beat you to death, it's gonna be on camera.
You just
said that.
counter self, dude. Like, now you can't because you said it yourself. It'll be on camera. And you're gonna teach other teachers how to beat a Marco?
Yeah. It's a graduate level class.
I want to. Just time for me. But I don't have.
Right now. Where's my water?
The next time I got to get it. It's supposed to be here.
You made me spit out my Jolly Rancher.
Marco, whose phoners are those?
Chris. He's right here though.
And who else?
Gage. Gage is here. Mine. Chris again. Simon.
Okay, he's here.
Whoa. Darcy. That's not the chat. Caleb. Peter. I'm here. Probably, do you need like a folder? If you have your stuff, you don't need it.
15 seconds.
One of mine went like.
I'm not taking this.
Hey, me spit out my Jolly Rancher stuff. You know what? I'm not gonna ask any questions. I'm just gonna answer them. I'll just sit back and answer questions. I'm not gonna ask Is it recorded by the way?
No.
I got you, homeboy. Just making sure. I don't want you to lose your evidence in teaching other teachers.
Who's drop first?
Me. Oh.
Alright, I got a question. Do you think if her dad stopped drinking when she was young, would he be alive today?
I have another question. Does Rex really care about his family?
I mean, he really does because he loves seeing his children and he wants to be there for them, but because he has the problem that he has with drugs and alcohol, it affects him a lot, so he can't control himself half the time.
I think if he really cared, he would just stop doing that stuff. His family was more important than that, but clearly it's not. Anyway.
I have a question. What exactly does the glass castle mean?
I think it's like a representation of like a perfect home that they always wanted. So it's something they dreamed about, but they can never get or do.
Yeah, on that glass castle, I think that Rex thought it was like a real glass castle, like he meant it physically, and the daughter meant it like as like a metaphor. I think Rex was just thinking like a real.
What would the metaphor be?
Kind of like, I don't know, like if it's a glass castle, it had to have been made perfect, so like it's like a perfect home for her, stuff like that.
Rashid, go ahead.
Question. When Wallace left Park Avenue because it was not where she belonged, did she feel as though she didn't fit in or didn't deserve to be there? When Wallace left Park Avenue because it was not where she belonged, did she feel as though she didn't fit in or didn't children deserve to be there.
With the glass castle, what it said is, I think it represents the relationship between her dad and her as fragile, the glass castle. So I'm gonna bust the ball now.
Let's have a question.
How did she get into like a good school and like get a good degree and good money if her family wasn't there?
Loans. I mean, debt.
I think she was just really smart from growing up like that, growing up on her own, so she had to, I don't know, that just made her real smart, you know.
So if you say that her dad didn't take care about her, why when she came back from, like when in the text evidence where she said it's been a while, why they didn't all feel that they really miss her?
Oh, from the hospital?
No, it's for in chapter 4.
Oh, okay.
So
I
you're
mean
saying
chapter 5.
when
Like,
she visits them?
yes, when she came back, she don't want to live with her family anymore. So why when she came back that they now?
I mean, well, they grew up, so they had to go to school, and they all just went on and lived their own
Yeah,
life.
but they
with families.
wasn't happy with them. She was happy to see them, but they are not.
Like she was probably like more successful than them. Like she was probably more successful and they felt like it was like they felt like she thinks that she's too good for them even though like she might not think that way. That's probably how they feel.
Going back to successful, you know how they saw the poor, the rich people as they were poor? Did they see her as she was poor? Like, you know how she, at the end she became rich and wealthy? Did their parents think of her poor?
So when he's saying poor, he's talking about how, in the beginning, the mom would talk about how rich people had it twisted. And so now that she's successful, does she not belong anymore? I guess is kind of where you're going with that? Ooh. I'd love to hear what you think about that. All right. So, go ahead, Ray.
I think, I just have another question.
Yeah.
Why does Rex lie so much?
All right, so first round's always the hardest. We're pressing on some good ideas, good questions, motivations. We saw go from childhood to adulthood. Does she still fit in as a question? Why does Rex do what he do? Why does he do those things he did? Right? Why did he do the things he did? Now, are we going to call that alcoholism? Or are we going to call it, is he just a bad dad? How do we negotiate those things? Your thoughts on those things, your next set of statements, your next questions, and you're going to rotate co-pilots. You have 1:30. Go ahead.
Go on, guys.
No, but it wasn't necessarily that. No, but like, did Jerry does she want that out there? Do you think he tried to quit drinking so he can live with one? No, but I'll while they're
I think that would be the most question to break the ice. So you're trying to figure out the
After Maria's arranged. Might as well back
was her dream?
for a long time until.
This is like after he's done.
So here her ex-boyfriend.
I really should ask
Ex-boyfriend,
Why would she see? Why would she see? Like her dad's policies and everything. I think honestly, it's like the good qualities.
30 seconds. Sorry.
Round two.
I'm about to throw it, but I forgot what I might throw it fast.
Round two.
Again.
Oh no.
What was their life like after Rex died? Like, did their family get closer or?
I got a question. What was Marie's arrangement and why did it break up the family?
Okay. So we didn't get to read all of this, but Marie ended up stabbing her mom.
Hold on.
So I say that, hopefully you'll go, you can download a free copy of this PDF and read the whole thing. We obviously wouldn't have time to read all 284 pages. But hopefully that'll make you guys want to read more. You can read it on your phone. That's a great question, you hear it? All right, who else has got, give it to Chris. There you
I have a question. Why did she divorce a wealthy man after coming out of poverty?
go. Who can answer that? Write it down, give it to Johnny. Give the blade in there.
Maybe the rich man's qualities were poor, like personality-wise. It wasn't something like her father.
Remind me of something?
What is it? Yesterday we actually talked about that the guy that Jonathan, he's like got the qualities of Rex, but not the bad qualities. So.
Why did the dad still try to be himself while he was on the verge of his death?
Do you think this is really ironic that mom says, like, after they were having a toast, she says that life with your father was never boring, even though he did leave him during the winter.
It's a big question. Go ahead, Johnny.
So to answer Chris's question, if he didn't sign a prenup, then she gets some money from him.
Oh my god.
Does that really drive to the core? I mean, like, that is an answer, but if we're talking about like this whole continuum of valid answers versus less valid answers, do we have any text evidence to make us think that she thinks that way? No. Okay.
No, I would think.
All right. I bet you Garrison Kirkendall has a question.
Probably do.
Now Mr. Hadley.
Go ahead, Garrison.
Why did Brian and his wife split up?
So I'm gonna ask that question in a different way, because I think it's an important question. Brian was the little brother, right? He was the sergeant detective. Do you think that their childhood affected their adult relationships?
Yeah, that's why. Yes, because they didn't have like a figure to teach them from right and wrong, so they probably used it wrong in their real life.
Jazz is dying to ask a question.
Okay, in chapter 4, I was wondering, was she already not living with her parents before she graduated? Because whenever her dad told her, he's dying, she said, "I'm sorry, I really should have asked you when I graduated." So, was she already moved out?
At what point in her life did she change as a person from her childhood? Because as a child, she reflected the qualities of her parents, but as an adult, she kind of contradicted everything that she had learned as a child, which she was like different, like morally, like thinking possessions were like, I wouldn't say like were making her life better, but then she reflected back after she met her parents that she wasn't happy like where she was living and stuff. So like I'm just, at what point did all that change?
I got another question. Did they have to learn a lot of like normal adult things during adulthood?
Ask Gio Velasquez that.
Well, I have another question, like, it's about the dad. Was he actually insane? Because why would he go through the time to get sober, and then a few days later, after trying to go to the Grand Canyon, afterwards, yet he still drank?
I want to hear what Gio Ibarra has to say about that.
Like, is the dad actually insane because he went through the time to get sober and he had a tough time doing it, and yet he's still drinking again?
Well, no, it's not necessarily that he's insane. Yeah, he tried to take the time to get sober, but even when people try to do that, it's like it just becomes a part of him. Like it's something he has to do. But even though he sat there and he tried to detox it, he didn't fully get it out of his system. And so that's what he does. It's what he has to do every day in order to function. But even though to us it seems like he doesn't function, but it's him. It's what he does to function.
Gabby, can you ask another question, please?
In the beginning of chapter 5, where it says that he got married again and that he restored the house, how did he got the money to restore the house if he didn't have any?
Okay, so yeah, the son, Brian, he restored houses, right? So I think what Gabby's asking is they're very poor, right? They grew up poor. So, and Brian is a policeman, so how do you guys think he got to where he could do that? That's a good question. Any thoughts on that?
I would say they had to figure it out
Yeah.
themselves. Like earlier what Chris said, that they weren't taught well. Well, I think that they had to figure out what was right from wrong to develop as a person.
Yeah. Cool. Anybody have a question they'd like to add in? All right, go ahead, Ricky.
When you said, have I ever let you down, what do you think about that? Like, he did break his Rex broke promise or laws.
A lot of promises, right? Not just one. He constantly did.
And why do you think now he says, have I ever let you down?
You want to take a stab at that?
When he says, "Have I ever let you down?" Whenever Walls visits him, or
Jeanette Walls, yeah, the daughter.
And before she asked, "Can you stop drinking?" Then a couple days later, he started drinking and wrote that promise.
So, you're saying he breaks a lot of promises, right? And one of the last things he says to her when she's leaving the apartment is, have I ever let you down? What does that tell us about Rex, I guess, is where you're going with that, right? Yeah. Go ahead, I think Chris wants to jump at it.
Well, didn't he say that he was gonna that he was gonna die?
Yeah.
So maybe he was saying that because he's soon gonna die, so she doesn't have to worry about him anymore.
So, whoa. So, are you saying the best thing he could do for her is to die?
Yeah.
Wow. That's profound. Ooh. My mind is blown. All right. Anybody want to respond to that? Anybody else? Jazz?
Or maybe that he doesn't want to die with his family disappointed in him.
Huh. Wow. Some deathbed of regrets. Anybody else want to get on that? Yeah, he's in jail.
He was trying to make up for his past doings.
I like that. All right. We're gonna hit pause. A minute and a half. Talk about where you're gonna go next. Switch pilots and co-pilots.
All right, bro. On a serious note. I think Rex really died. I thought we were all in the same group. Alright, no, the real reason why Rex died.
To me, whenever he had said he was already mature, because even in the first,
Over time.
How they, I guess, I think they felt too different.
I'd say after that chapter, that's whenever she graduated.
Where was the government at all this time? This was a child protection.
Oh,
actually, yeah, I don't think they wanted to deal with government relations. They would say, I know, but don't the government or I mean, for things like this. I mean, the government, I don't know if they're in this time period at the time. Like where they're at, how they're living, you know.
30 seconds.
Yes, we good, I'm gonna ask
I'm gonna write it down. Right when he says judge, my wife does eat, so bring it.
I'll be like,
I called them all first, by the way.
Okay, what the thing?
I'll start off. How does Rex get his liquor even though he is homeless?
Valid question.
He's a narcotic, as well as his habits of what he does. To support them, he would help them, you know?
Anthony, you gotta make a choice, man. A lot of people love you right now.
Where was the government at when all this was going on with like the kids? Like where was like social services, like CPS and all that?
That's my question. You heard me talk about this.
Answer, Rashidi.
Would you like to answer the question?
I don't think the government were like enforcing stuff back then.
Okay.
And like they were lazy. And you know, they don't enforce a lot of stuff right now anyways.
Okay, so let's make a real life connection right now. When you say that, what? Okay, so you feel that way. You feel that way right now. So how can you relate that sense of they weren't enforcing stuff then to they aren't enforcing stuff now? What would you say the connection would be?
I mean,
2 seconds.
you know, nobody's perfect.
Okay.
Just like our government.
Okay.
So like when cops like kill black people every day.
Okay.
And like they mostly don't get in trouble for it.
Okay.
They get away with murder. Like,
So you're saying, I'm asking, because I'm not that smart here. So you're saying that the instances where police officers have shot and killed African Americans, we can relate that to the Glass Castle because
the government should have been involved in this family.
Okay.
And, should have been doing the right thing.
Can I answer?
Okay, fair enough. Go ahead.
So like the government can be involved in different ways, like indirectly, like maybe like when she was at the hospital, the nurses asking her questions, that was an indirect way of the government being involved.
So yeah, I was kind of CPS-y.
Yeah, but
Okay.
also I want to answer to Jason.
Yeah.
Maybe like the government not being involved, like the glass castle, like it's probably like the glass, like they can see out and they can see what's going on in the real world, but nobody can see what's going on in the house.
Whoa. Wow. I need to sit down.
I thought glass was
Thank you. I think that's a really big idea, Taylor. I like that. Let's let that marinate. Harley.
Well, maybe the government didn't get involved because they didn't want to have their family separated more than it already was.
Oh, okay.
They didn't have their dad, so why would they want to lose the rest of their brothers and sisters?
That's a very interesting way to look at that.
What's the real reason that Rex died?
I think it was alcohol poisoning or something. But anyways, earlier at 1:56, Blatant asked. He asked at what point did she change from being like her dad to growing up and being successful. I think it was probably around the time she started high school. Like she wanted to change her image. She didn't want people to think like she was poor and stuff. So. Does Rex feel like he had?
Oh. To our cameras.
That was close.
What's your question, Kevin?
Does Rex feel like he has been a good father? Someone answer.
I'll tell you what, why don't you pass it to Ivan? Yvonne, sorry. Give us a question.
Why does work begin my story when she was older instead of when she was young?
Alright, man, that is the second time you have done this, and I think that might be the big question. He asked us, why did she start as an adult in the story and then goes back to her childhood and then goes back to being an adult again? Why does she do that? Okay, how does it make it intriguing?
It starts so you don't quit reading on it.
You don't have the ball.
I kind of forgot what your question was, or what'd you say?
Does Rex?
Oh yeah, does Rex feel like he's a good dad?
Oh, okay, in response to that, I feel like in a way he thinks he's a good dad because maybe Rex's childhood, his father was the same way that he is now, or he was. So like maybe his dad drank like he did, and so maybe that's the only thing he knew, so he thought in a way that he was being a good father.
Sure.
Why did she distance herself from her family after her dad died? In page 280 it says, in the months that followed, I found myself wanting to be somewhere other than where I was.
To answer to Garrison's question.
Oh yeah, thank you.
No. Wait, what was your question?
Was he a good father?
No, wait.
What was your question?
Yeah.
Was he a good father?
Let's Garrison. You guys, Garrison?
Was he a good father? No, most likely not. He knew he was a terrible father, but his family accepted him.
Alright, I'd like to give you a little, please.
Okay. Although Rex wasn't the greatest father, Jeanette still wanted to check him out, Rex Wall style, to let him die the way he would want to. Why do you think she would want him to do that for him?
Luca's got a thing in question. Anticlimactic, that's okay. Alright. Anuba, let's hear it.
How do her parents look at her as a good person?
Alright. Oh, go ahead.
I got another question. How is the mother surviving without Rex?
Okay. Give me that ball back. So, how do her parents look at her now that she's educated? What was your skill on?
Why did his daughter want him to? I don't know how to word it.
Why does she want to check him out Rex Wall style one more time?
Why did she want to check on all the time? What was your question?
How is the mother surviving without Rex?
How's the mother surviving? Okay, 3 big questions. We need to rotate again, so go ahead and answer those and think anything else you need to think of. Oh my God,
I think for y'all, yeah, for us, so you need to take for me. Okay, think for me, I can do that.
Anyone have chapter 5?
He babysits us.
I thought that was weird. It's a one-way
I forgot.
30 seconds.
I just want to see
Oh,
Hey, Hadley, I need an editor, I got you.
It's like a film.
You might need some stuff cut out. You know, some stuff cut out.
Your face.
I'm good at editing. I'll make it. Put some background funk.
I don't know how she's I want to
I think.
all right, here we go. Simon's got some knowledge to drop on us.
So, actually mine's like more of a response to the question that he said on the previous one. It was about the, why she was going back from adult to child and then back to adult. Well, I think because like she was explaining to us like her background of like whenever she was younger and how it made her to the present day, like how it made her more stronger. Because like if she would have had like more of an easier childhood, then she probably would have been more gentle and not insult, you know. So that's my response to that.
I wanted to answer a question that was asked in the last one. How was her mom coping with Rex dying? Well, after Rex said he died, or he said he was gonna die, and after he died, Lori was always with her mom. Like if you notice, like every time she talks with her mom, Lori's always with her. So that's how she's coping.
Good one.
I want to answer her question about the Rex Wallace style thing. I think it was the second chapter, the one where she got burned. But her dad checked her out Rex Wallace style, so I guess. And she was also talking about how if like he was dying, he'd rather be like picked apart by like coyotes and buzzards on a mountain instead of being hooked up to a machine. So maybe she felt like if she did that, she'd be doing him like one last favor.
Like letting him die on his own terms?
Yeah.
Interesting, I like that.
So when she went to go visit him, and she was walking out, she said, like we said earlier, that when have I ever let you down? And the way they responded to that is like they chuckled and smiled, and they said that they knew there was only one way to answer that. Well, if he has let her down so much, and they both know that, why would they laugh and smile and chuckle about it? Because letting someone down is not a happy idea.
So are you taking that, you're saying you'd have to take it literally, or it's figurative, like sarcastic?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Do they really know that?
Just Wolf, please. Who? Gage. Oh, go Gage, yeah, you gotta go. Ray, jump on up, Gage. All right, who's got the next question?
Does, her name is Jeanette.
Yeah.
Does Jeanette feel like she's more close to, like, or like she's more leaning towards her father or her mother's side because they're two different people?
I want a response to that. Who does Jeanette identify more with? Anybody? Paladin, it's not illegal if you respond. Clint, take it, man.
I feel like she has more of a connection with her father because they're always like kind of like battling in her heart. But I feel like she has more connection with him because she's always struggling to get inside of his heart and change his ways.
Ooh. Okay. All right.
It's pretty good. That's a satisfactory response. Garrison, why don't you toss us another question, man?
Okay. Give me 1 second. I think this was already asked, but like, what is the glass castle?
What is the glass castle?
I think the glass castle was an idea made up by Rex and Jeanette to make a perfect family that everyone can see or just see with no lies.
But they were unable to achieve it because he died.
Okay.
And they brought that up when she visited one last time. Not saying that they planned it, but they never achieved it.
I got a feeling Simon wants to add to that.
Oh, on what? What you said?
What I just heard.
Oh,
What I just heard.
okay. I was like it was kind of hard to hear because he was whispering and stuff.
Oh my goodness, just this once.
It's representing how fragile her life is with her family and how everything is going and how it can shatter very easily.
Yeah. So the glass castle also was this dilapidated house that Rex was gonna build, but you guys hit the nail on the head there with what it really was supposed to mean. Absolutely.
I don't remember what the question was from the last, there was 3 questions
Yeah.
right before we ended.
But
it was something about why did she want to be far away from where she was at? Something like that.
Yeah.
Can you repeat that question if you remember?
Yeah, well, it was basically, it was why was she distancing herself from her family, something like that? What do you got, man?
I think she wanted to forget about her dad's death. That's why she wanted to stay away from her family.
The ice skating.
Yeah.
I think it's a really good point because she's ice skating, but as soon as her skates are stolen, she doesn't replace them, right? So it wasn't about ice skating, it was about losing yourself in something. That's really good. I'll tell you what, Leah, you give me a question or a response?
Well, it's a response to
Respond, my goodness.
Whenever you said if she relates to her dad, or whoever she relates to more, I think it's her dad, because that's why she left her first husband, because he was, like, the person she married, her first husband, he was a rich guy, someone that her dad would hate. So, and that wasn't her, like, she didn't want that, because that wasn't her father.
Okay.
So she married a second guy who was just like him, but in the good ways. Someone she could talk to.
Just like her dad?
Yeah.
Okay. Bowden, one question.
I didn't get, like, when he made up the story and like the tropical disease and like the fist fighting or whatever, why he couldn't just tell her, like, I know it's just like Rex, he makes up stuff, but I don't know.
No, I think it's a really good question. Why couldn't you just say, hey, I'm dying of alcoholism or emphysema or whatever? And it looks like Leah wants a crack at it and Marco wants a crack at it. Go on Marco first. Talk to your therapist about it, it's okay.
He didn't want to tell her because whenever she was 10 for her birthday, she wanted him to quit drinking, and he couldn't do it, so he didn't want to say he was dying of drinking.
I think it's a very good text evidence there.
I mean, like, after growing up, knowing her dad's an alcoholic and knowing that he's been lying to her basically her entire life and not keeping promises and just being disloyal. When he said that, she kind of assumed and she knew. She was like, well, obviously that didn't happen to him, 1. And 2, his information didn't match up because he said tropical, but then he listed a place in Africa. So she knew that it wasn't that wasn't the reason. And she knew that this alcoholism was going to catch up to him because that's why she wanted him to stop in the first place.
Okay, I like this. I like this a lot. In the last couple of minutes we have, I'll tell you what. I know I talk about like literature being a mirror to the soul and everything like that and why we have to read stuff, but I want you to talk to your co-pilots for 1 second, 30 seconds, and I want you to think of one word that describes why it's important to read The Glass Castle, or one word that tells you what The Glass Castle means. Go. One word. Simon Rodriguez. One word.
Life.
Margot.
Yes, sir.
One word.
Change.
Ray.
Sensitive.
Clint.
Sensational.
Johnny.
Regret.
Regret. Kaylin. Questioning. Ricky.
Fragile.
Garrison.
Inspiration.
Leah.
More like a face.
Dahlia.
Reality.
Reality. Anybody else want to throw one out there?
Unorthodox.
Unorthodox. Oh, that's a $10 word right there. All right.